everyone. Okay, we'll wait until they get in. Thank you all for coming. This is great, wonderful. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our speaker this afternoon, Dr. Vijay Mukherjee. He's a professor of philosophy at Vishwabharati University in India. Indeed, both the speaker, that is Dr. Mukherjee, and his topic, Rabindranath Tagore, have been truly inspirational for me all through my life. Now, Dr. Mukherjee will say quite a bit about Tagore. So I'm not going to say any more about Tagore, but I do want to say just a couple of things about Dr. Mukherjee. Dr. Mukherjee originally was being trained as a physicist, came to philosophy through philosophy of physics, philosophy of science, quantum physics, right? And in recent years, he has been very interested in the philosophical and ideological histories of 19th and 20th century Bengal, which is actually a very rich field. He is also very interested in Tagore. So one of the things that he has worked on before is the Tagore-Einstein communication, and the philosophical implications of that, scientific implications of that. He's also been very interested in Tagore's philosophy as well as vision as reflected in this institution that Tagore started. This is Vishwabharati. So it's really, truly an incredible, I think, opportunity for us because I truly believe that at UNCA, at our liberal arts core, you'll see, it's very much in sync with what Tagore was trying to do in many ways, you'll see. I should also say that it's truly, Dr. Mukherjee was one of my early professors of philosophy in India. And I cannot tell you how much I learned from him. Really, truly, I became a philosopher because of him. So it's an incredible honor for me to welcome him to UNCA. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Mukherjee.
Okay, thank you, Kay, for very kind introduction. And my thanks to the Department of Philosophy and this university to invite me here. So let me see what I can do about this. In India, Tagore and Vishwabharati both are very loaded words, particularly in our part of India, Bengal, which is now West Bengal, but also in Bangladesh. It means many, many, many things. I might give you this information that Tagore was the person who wrote national song of India for Bangladesh, composed them himself, and the national anthem of Sri Lanka, the score was composed by Tagore. So he was a man of that kind and that influence in that subcontinent. Tagore and Vishwabharati once we start thinking about it, one might go in different directions. But I will pick up only one theme. The theme is that why this man, who was of course, a poet. He was awarded Nobel Prize for poetry. He was a playwright, novelist. He was a musician, painter, and also innovator in various other forms, dance drama, etc. Such a man suddenly decided to start a school, and then after 16 years, he thought the school was not enough. He must start university. So I'm going to raise this question, why? And why did he think that he should do that? And how he actually accomplished whatever he did. I said this already, but late in his life, he took to painting. The works were exhibited all over the world, but these India, England, France, and Germany, they were well discussed. Okay, this is another. He was a personal friend of Mohandas Gandhi, W.B. Yeats, Sturge Moore. W.B. Yeats actually wrote a foreword of Gitanjali, for which he was awarded Nobel Prize. Sturge Moore was the person who, then he was Poet Laureate of England. He recommended Tagore for Nobel Prize. William Rothenstein, Andre Gide, and of course Albert Einstein, to name a few. So he was a kind of, all I'm trying to say is that he was a kind of big league, but suddenly he decided to go to a very desolate place and start a university. This is, can you see? Yeah, the place, before they started the university, the place was something like this. There was nothing except few trees, not many trees actually. Something like 100 miles from Kolkata, his father, Debendranath Tagore, actually purchased a piece of land for a reason. The reason was this: he was the man guiding force behind the very famous religious movement called Brahmo Samaj in Bengal. The situation was this, that we don't use the word Hindu much in the academic discourse. It was India, and our part, Bengal, was largely under Brahminical tradition. But then Brahminical tradition flourished up to, say, 13th, 14th century. After that, we say it's from later part of 14th century to 18th century, late 18th century. It was a dark age. Almost nothing happened. Somehow it was a ritual and ritual and ritual, very repressive, at times inhuman, like bride burning, etc., etc. So there was a feeling among the Hindus that something must have been done. And Brahmo Samaj was movement. It was a movement, cultural movement, religious movement. This movement actually tried to free the society from the ills of Brahminical tradition at that point of time. So they sort of largely reinterpreted some of the tenets of so-called Brahminical tradition, including texts, to Upanishads mainly, to reach the ideology of Brahmo Samaj. So, but then his father, Tagore's father, actually bought a piece of land with the idea that he will construct something there so that people can go from Kolkata and worship in a peaceful situation. So this was the first house constructed there. And he named this place Shanti Niketan, which literally means abode of peace. Now, Tagore, when he was young, I mean, as a child, he was sent to school in Kolkata, officially once, but unofficially we know that several times, but he never survived in the school. He found the school impossible, repressive, so he left. So then his father actually arranged a few tutors in house. He learned a lot, including music. After that, when he was 17 years old, he was sent to England to Cambridge actually with his brother, elder brother. Again, he was sent to school, and then after a month, he decided, okay, he's not going to continue, came back. So he actually never continued in any school. A couple of weeks in India and a month in Britain, that's it. Now, but then this man, he was born in 1961, 1861, and when he was 39-year-old, in 1901, he started this school in that place. And by the time he started this school, lots of trees were planted. It was rather a green place. But then question remains that why he should start a school. He was already well-known poet, well-known novelist, recognized as a kind of social hero, but he leaves everything, comes back to Shantiniketan, where almost 4 or 5 families were living, and then he decides to start a school. After that, 16 years after that, he decides, or 17 years, that school is not enough. He will have to have a university. And what for that university? He wrote somewhere in his diary, objective is to create a center where the mind of the East and West would meet. So that's apparently the reason that he started the university from the school. But then paradox, it's not my formulation, somebody, he's a biographer, he actually said somewhere, why somebody who has never gone through the school education system must start a school himself. The easy but insufficient answer is create a good school. But then the immediate problem is that what it is to be a good school. And I don't want to go there, but then Tagore has a substantial literature, at least 8 to 10 articles, where he said what it is, he discussed what it is to be a school. First, what it is to be a school, then what it is to be a good school, then what it is to be university, and then what it is to be appropriate university for India. That was his problem. And while he was asking these questions, he was also writing, he was very active in other fields, like getting Nobel Prize, coming up with new music, new dance form, etc., etc. And if time permits, I'll come at the end that with his own money, he started the biggest rural reconstruction program in pre-independent India. So he was doing all these things, but he was also doing this, and he very consistently. So I'll move to the reason. I mean, he wrote, as I said, several articles. I'm picking up 2 here, really. The answer lies in concept of man and nature. The schooling is there will have to be some ideology behind school, and that ideology should be founded on the concept of man and nature. He did work out by the time a concept of man and nature, and therefore he thought having a school was imperative. That's I'm going to elaborate on now. At 2 places he actually argues for it. This is one place. Man is endowed with consciousness. Information received from outside through senses. I am sort of translating from Bengali to English. So, The third one is that there are two possibilities in philosophy, that the information which we receive through senses, they might remain as bundle of qualities, or some unity might be there or created there. And Tagore picks up this: the world as unity is created. It doesn't remain merely as bundle of invisible forces. Here there's a overtone. He had a kind of bias against science, but this bias has to be taken with, with a pinch of salt, as they say. He actually took to writing about science almost simultaneously with painting at the age of 70. So he was a great fan of science. But he had a kind of, when he says indivisible forces, he talks about supremacy of, or apparent supremacy of science, which undermines the creative aspect of man in anything intellectual. Anything intellectual is actually creative, and science abstracts away the man. Therefore, science presents the world as interaction of invisible forces. That's what he's objecting to here. So ultimately, his conclusion in that personality P, that page P353, this conclusion is that this world is man's world. Okay, if there will be time at the end, I might take up why I wrote this. Man is endowed with consciousness. It's trivial, but it has a root in our philosophy of so-called Vedanta. So, but then this argument is actually very epistemic in nature. He then, a couple of pages later, he actually extends this argument to this. This world, which all these sentences are from that book. This world, which takes its form in the mold of man's perception, remains only partial world of senses and mind. It becomes completely our own when it comes within the range of emotions. And then this one is important. With love and hatred, pleasure and pain continually working upon it, this world becomes part of our personality. So these two are different arguments in that sense, that it was all epistemically given or constructed. That was the dilemma. Here he extends and he goes to much further. The only sense and construction of senses and mind, the world doesn't end there. There is something more, where we feel it with love and hatred, pleasure and pain, only then the world becomes ours. So this is a much extended form of argument, and it has its consequences. Again, I will see. So we must feel it. What? Feel the world and nature, because by feeling it, we feel ourselves. Here, this step is very important for Tagore, because in the traditional Indian philosophy, the world is to a certain extent undermined. There are, at least one aspect of Vedanta, the mainstay of Brahminical tradition. They say that the world of perception is false. Now, anything which depends on world of perception is somehow a false perception. So we will have to withdraw from the world and look for Brahman or something else. He is just taking the opposite position and saying that this world, which is created by me, I must feel that. Only epistemically creating a world does not matter. I must feel that, because that creation was immediate. I cannot escape it. And in that, whatever is created, that image of the world, that is where I can find myself, and I do find myself. So that's the difference between the traditional Vedanta, Indian philosophy, and his position, or rather his interpretation of Vedanta. He would next say that Shankara or the Advaita Vedantin was wrong. I am right. Okay? That's the second thing. If the world were taken away, our personality would lose all its contents. This has immediate reference to two things. One is all those so-called spiritual gurus. They would say that, okay, the world is, as I say, there is a false picture. Don't depend much on it. Don't be misled by that. Withdraw from it and worship the God. He is saying just the opposite. Not only he is saying just the opposite, he is also saying that in the world, in your creativity only, you can find yourselves. And if in any activity the world is taken away, then it's all empty. So something like hollow main. Now, what would be the application of this position in education? Children are obviously human. Okay, education should help them to realize their humanity. Now, teaching within four walls, any school is the students are taught within a classroom. That's what he is objecting primarily. Then, if they are sitting in the classroom, then they are cut off from the world. And that is the worst form of alienation that's possible. And if you are alienated from the nature, then since nature is where you see yourself, then you are that's the worst kind of alienation that is possible. Therefore, the traditional system of education, which keeps the students in the school, in a classroom, and one person teaches them, that is not acceptable to Tagore. These are quotes from him. Therefore, I consider it as part of education for my boys to let them fully realize that they are in a scheme of existence where trees are a substantial fact. And then this, it seems somebody could have said it today, not merely are trees generating chlorophyll and taking carbon from the air, but as living trees. Today we are sort of arguing a lot on a pragmatic ground that, okay, why should we plant trees? Why should we have trees? Because, okay, leaves have chlorophyll, they produce oxygen. So it's a kind of, trees are becoming means to produce oxygen. That's something he doesn't have in mind, just the other way around. And the trees are part of my existence. That's why I'll have to protect them. I'll have to be within them. And if there will be trees, they will have chlorophyll, they will produce oxygen. So today's ecological argument, he would argue rather, that today's ecological argument are just putting things upside down. It's not because you want to live there, so you want to have trees, but it's because trees are part of you, so you will have to have trees. And as a consequence, you get something more. That's fine. So you can think about it. Okay, this is the kind of school we have still now. This is the current picture, last year's. We have trees, there's a space, and students just sit there. When teacher comes, she will sit somewhere here, and then first general strategy is that they will start with telling a story. whatever, whether they are teaching mathematics or they are teaching history, they will start with a story and then go to mathematics or history or whatever it is. So story will be the first thing. That's the general condition. Every teacher would have to follow in the classroom. And see how happy they are. They were very eager when I was with the camera, and they looked at us. Okay, do it quickly. I said, why? You know, we have 5 minutes. The teacher will reach. So do it. Yeah. This also happens in the schools. At times it becomes dangerous, but we have it. Okay, now the problem. Initially, the model was, we call in Bengali, or it's a Sanskrit word actually, ashram. Ashram education. What is that? It's a kind of system. People think the rishis used to follow in ancient India, the gurus used to follow in ancient India. It's a kind of hermitage in the forest, little away from the society. The teacher will be there, the student will live with them, and also in nature. They will produce, of course, philosophy, literature, mathematics, medicine, and all that you find in the Vedas. And they will find most of the things they need in the forest, and if they do not find something, the society will supply all those materials so that they survive. And in return, whenever society needs a piece of knowledge, they approach them, and it gets it. So ashram education is something which we had that most of the people believed. But there was a dangerous belief associated with it, is that ashram education is something which is essentially part of Brahminical tradition. Historically, of course, it was Brahminical tradition. But then there is a very important difference. The Brahminical tradition, there are lots of rituals. As I said, these rituals are often repressive. So people, those who came to Shantiniketan in first couple of years, 10 years almost, they actually, because of all the image of ashram, there's a hermitage, guru teaching the student, etc., they took for granted that it is a kind of revival of ancient Hinduism or Brahminical system of rituals also. But that was where things went wrong terribly. Tagore was the first to spot it, and the man behind this interpretation that ashram education is all about rituals and all, Brahmabandha Upadhyay, Tagore had a, I shouldn't say quarrel, but there was something exchange with him, and he left it. So Tagore took a couple of years to get things again on the track. From that something like 13, 14, 15, 1913, 14, 15, this period after he got the Nobel Prize in 1912, he was thinking about all these things. And incidentally, the first, this inclination is observed in his couple of lectures. 2 were given in India, but 2 were given in America, in Harvard. They were part of Harvard lectures. He was asking this question, not what kind of education do we need as such, but the question is, we are in India, and what kind of education does India need? Now, if you want to answer this question, again, you have that question, what is India? Somehow you'll have to answer this. Now, there is the problem. What is the problem? It's not easy. The problem is that we might go back to, again, ancient literature, our whatever little bit of written history we have, Mahabharata, Ramayana, or other literary works like Abhigya and Shakuntalam, where you have a description of India, literally. All these descriptions are geographical description. It includes something fantastic. It starts with Tibet, includes Afghanistan, part of China, and Bangladesh, and then it goes to South India, the southernmost tip of India, and also what is Pakistan now. And why not Java and Boli? So that simply that description doesn't work. And he started writing about, thinking about history in 1902. And in 1902, everybody knew that British ruler, the colonial ruler, is going to propose division of Bengal, East Bengal and West Bengal, on the communal line. So if that happens, that will be terrible. And Tagore was one of the persons who really went to the streets, composed songs. One of the songs is now the national anthem of Bangladesh, went to the street, protested, and it stopped. Lord Curzon, he stopped that in 1905, but in 1947 we had to take it. But in any case, in 1902, everybody knew that something terrible is going to happen. Another part of India, geographical India, we are going to lose. So, how to characterize India? That's the problem. He wrote these 3 articles in Bharatbarsher Itihash, the history of India, in 1902. But then second one is more interesting, and in 1905, apparently it's a development on the first, but that it is not. You see, literally it should be translated like the current of history or flow of history in India. It's not history of India, or not a flow of or current of India's history. It's something like unfolding of history in India. History in India, it's a geographical place. History unfolded in a particular way. In the West, it's another geographically defined place. History unfolded there in a different way. So we will have to look at how history was unfolding in the times to come in the geographical location, India. So that was the problem. History is somewhere else being implemented. It's not translated properly. Some historian translated it, and Tagore didn't like. So he himself tried to translate that second one as a vision of India's history. That he did in 1912. The second and third, there were differences between these two, but I wish you could read it, the Bengali piece. It's a big, something around 27-page article. It's a very, very interesting piece in philosophy of history. This much I can tell you right now. But without any more discussion on the philosophy of history, I'll go to these conclusions. He reached these conclusions. India is not a geographical entity at all. It is not a political entity either. Why? Geographical entity, why it is not, I have argued. Why it is not political entity? Because often people from outside came to India either as aggressor or just as fortune seeker, and then settled here. It started with Alexander, attacked India. Then he decided to go back, but left a lot of lot of people who came with him, they didn't go back. They decided to stay in India. Okay, Alexander is an aggressor. Babur, for example, he came from Middle East, but he didn't go back. He stayed, he became the emperor, but all the people he came with, his forces or anybody who came with him, his family, etc., etc., they all stayed back. Genghis Khan from Mongolia came and went back, but a lot of Mongolians stayed back. And of course, Muslims. Islam came, they ruled, and so to say, naturalized. And interestingly, it's a comparatively recent find that Christianity reached India the late 3rd century to South India. And they have a very flourishing Syrian Catholic Church in Kerala. So, but if you go back to 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 10th, 12th, or even 14th century, you will see that all the time political power is somehow aligned with some religion or other. Mughals aligned with, except Akbar, aligned with Islam. Rest aligned with the Hindus or people from Brahminical tradition. South India, there was some influence of Christianity on the state power. So if we take them individually, then we will get at least all the time, this is not what he wrote, but I'm just explaining him. All the time, we will find 2-3 political powers working. Each of them were aligned with different religions. And they were fighting. That's why politically it would be impossible to characterize India as a political entity, because whole of India was almost never under one rule. So races from all over the world came here and created a culture based on harmony. When they come, they fight, they stay here, become part of the society, then there will be some time for adjustment, but after some time, a system will be created, and like Hindus and Muslims, they decide to stay together, not only stay together, or contribute to create one culture. The worst thing, a lot of things is said about Hindu, Muslim, Islam, how do you pronounce? Hindu-Muslim riot in India. But the fact is that if you look at the number of days such riots continued in past, say, 100 years, you won't find more than 7 or 10 days. Noakhali, Bangladesh thing continued for 3 days. Varanasi thing continued for 2 days, like that. In Maharashtra, it continued for 2 days. After that, somehow society managed to pacify these groups. Dialogue is created, and within a month, things are all right. Otherwise, we will, all the Hindus and Muslims were dead. Somehow, it has this, but in Tagore's interpretation, there is something in that society, in that culture itself, where after some little bit of aggressive attitude for 1 or 2 days, they decide to sit together and decide to live happily, contributing to one culture. There are well-known examples, and he cites any of them. For example, painting, music, language, poetry. In all these fields, you'll see that Hindu contribution is matched by contributions by the Muslims. And there are a couple of fields like Indian classical music. You just cannot think of having Indian classical music without that great contribution from the Muslims. In fact, I don't know, I have some time? Huh?
You have 7 minutes.
Oh. Okay, I may take it up later. So ultimately the conclusion is that India is cultural entity. It is not geographical entity, it is not political entity. Because of that harmony, a culture is created, and therefore, if we want to characterize, quote unquote, India, it will have to be a cultural entity. So now move from this to idea of university. If there could be harmony among apparently antagonistic races, like Hindus and Muslims, there could be harmony between India and the rest of the world. There is nothing, nothing stops me. Muslims were not Indians before they came to India. After they came, they became Indians, and they created one society. There's a harmony. British went to India, but according to Tagore, went as a nation, as an organized force to exploit India. He was very categorical about it. But forget about the political, the organized nation. If you look at the exchange between people, Indians and the British, or Indians and the Europeans, then there is no reason not to have a harmonious relation with the Indians and the Europeans. Therefore, but then it should be possible that a harmonious arrangement is reached between the East and the West. And that cannot be done politically. But here, politically means by force. So it will have to be done culturally. And we need an institution which would spearhead this kind of movement. And this is Vishwabharati. He explained Vishwabharati as this, where the world meets in a single nest. A university will be an institution where world would meet in a single nest. Obviously, such an university will be cultural. So we have once, from his time, he started in 1918. In 1919, a school of initially it started with School of Humanities, then we had School of Fine Arts, then we had School of Music, and then within School of Music in 1921. In 1922, this whole thing started. The Rural Reconstruction Program started, and he saw that to have a interesting and effective rural reconstruction program, we must have a College of Agriculture, because most of the economy runs on agriculture. Therefore, in 22 to 27, rural reconstruction Department of Rural Reconstruction actually adds departments, and most important department till now is Department of Agriculture, or College of Agriculture they call it. But then the School of Humanities, these are the two the priority area to study medieval India. Why study medieval India? Why priority of that? Is that in medieval India, some of you might have heard name like Kabir. He was a saint in medieval India. He very famous. Lot of people. He had a lot of followers. But there was nothing like a church, but still he had a lot of followers. The most interesting thing about medieval India is that there were political powers, but they usually did not interfere much with the daily life of the people. And daily life of the people for Tagore goes on cultural level, okay? Apart from earning a little bit, the culture is the mainstay. So, and since political power did not interfere, true, but also Brahminical, the power. Okay, how to say it quickly. Brahminical institutions, we had several Brahminical institutions by 15th, 16th century, but they also couldn't reach, because it is such a vast country, so many people, so they couldn't reach. So there was no, so physically there was no possibility of interfering in their daily life. And so was the case with Islam. So these, the large sections of people living in several pockets, geographical area of India in the medieval period, they were sort of remarkably free of interference from either the political power, Hindu or mostly Islam, Muslim, or Brahminical institutions, or even Islamic institutions. Kabir, this saint, we call him saint in India, he was born Muslim, but when you read his poems, you would like to compare him with the Hindu poets. So this kind of things, usually this kind of situation will not be tolerated by Islam. Neither will it be tolerated by any Brahminical institution. But this kind of things were taking place in India, and they flourished. Not only Kabir, there were Ramananda, there were Chaitanya, and lots of things. So Tagore actually, he himself emphasized the role of cultural movements, Bhakti movement he used to call, and he time and again he used to emphasize that, look, these are more cultural movement. People interact there. One man interact with another man as human being, not through any power or society or any system of rules. It's a direct interaction. Study them and you will get enough material to create your India. So that's one thing, one of the priority areas. And then the second thing is cultural exchange with Asian countries. As I have been telling, that we had a lot of interaction with Afghanistan. Now what is Pakistan was part of India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Java, Boli, Indochina, and all these people. So he used to think culturally, and if you think culturally, then you will have to think in terms of greater India, because you cannot just think only in terms of so-called mainland India. Mainland India interacted with Java, and Java also gave us a lot. He actually thought that Indian dance depends a lot on Javanese forms, and he actually incorporated that, some of the Javanese forms in his own dance. So he thought these two should be the focal area of his School of Humanities, and also economics. But then when he was talking about, he was thinking about two things. One was to study of the rural economic situation, and to have a kind of cooperative movement. So initially, economics was more part of rural reconstruction program. Okay, 2 more minutes. I will, okay, these I will skip. Next, again, creativity comes, and creativity, okay, School of Fine Arts is also another creative field, so there will have to be School of Fine Arts. And then they were supposed to produce fine arts, but also this, it would discover living art forms, create new design, and give them back to the society. That was the professed idea of School of Fine Arts. I'll show you. This is the area. It's all trees. Now we have few more buildings, but I don't like that. This is the oldest hostel of School of Fine Arts, mud-built hostel. But you can see all those motifs in the. They were done by the students themselves, students and teachers themselves. Okay, once in a year, the student from the school go there, and then this kind of thing. They interact with the students and teachers of the School of Fine Arts. They have their own teachers and teachers of, but then once they go to the College of Fine Arts and then interact with their teachers. This is one of the famous sculptures. Two, I think, have, yeah, this is another. And they are not good, but also, if you go there, and I'll invite all of you to visit us sometime. It's a very interesting place. You know, it's like a big theater. A lot of things are happening. These two big sculptures I showed you. There's a tribal family coming from one tribal village. There's another, the two tribal girls, they are going to work somewhere. We call Kolerbashi. When they are going to work in the rice mill, there will be at 7 o'clock, they are supposed to go there. There will be the whistle and they will run. That's it. And then like this. And here you have a building, but then that's not enough where these people are going to work. So they create this kind of murals. This is one of the very famous murals by a very famous Indian printmaker. He was actually a printmaker, but he suddenly decided to go for mural and created this. So, and this. There's another, this direction is also, behind there is a tribal village. And the sculptor, who was a teacher of the School of Fine Arts, Ramkinkar Bej, he named this sculpture after Sujata. If some of you know the story of Buddha, you know, who attained bliss, a girl comes and offers him some, what you call, cottage cheese or something like that, curd or cottage cheese or something like that. So he was almost dying, but he eats them and then becomes a teacher. But then here, Sujata comes from a tribal village to whom? To Buddha. And then I asked the sculptor, both of them were done by one sculptor. I asked him, he was my father's contemporary. I said, that, did you think about it that when the sun sets, the Sujata, this tall eucalyptus tree was not there 35 years back. When the sun sets, as if Sujata, the shade they created, that extends slowly and reaches Buddha. So I asked him, was it within your plan, the shadow reaching Buddha? He said, you always see more than I do. I said, okay, but I have seen it. Come, I'll show you. He said, you said it, you have it. I did Sujata and I did Buddha. That's enough for me. But for you, you wanted more, so you have Buddha and Sujata together. And their shadow, don't forget it. So that's the kind of thing. It's like a place, central theater, and a lot of things are happening. People are coming to Buddha for wisdom. And the idea of Vishwabharat is that we will have to cater to all of them. 2 more minutes to show a few quick things. There's a dance form, not only created, but also the costume, okay? And these are all. Another interesting thing is that of secularization of all Hindu festival. This is one festival, but now nothing Hindu remains, okay? This is so-called the Holi festival, festival of colors. This is in North India. It is a Hindu festival, but when we do it in Shantiniketan and whole of Bengal, nothing Hindu remains. Yeah, how the kids take part. So that's all right. I may stop here. So that's the last thing that I'll emphasize, that it has many professed aims to contribute to the society. But one very important role it played throughout is to systematically convert so-called Hindu religious festivals to secular festivals, pushing them on the cultural level from the religious level. Okay, thank you very much. Please.
What was the common interest that Tagore had with Einstein? What brought them together?
Okay, actually, there was not immediate common interest regarding science. It was the future of humanity. That's what they were concerned about. So the science, so-called what we all think about today, is that the supremacy of science and technology might finish the civilization one day. Both of them were concerned about it. And both of them were concerned about one thing, is that the institutional aspect of religion, which ultimately well, both of them were convinced that this institutional aspect of religion cannot help humanity. Somehow or other, we will have to do something about it. And about these 2 points, they agreed. They wrote. Einstein wrote about organized religion. Tagore wrote about organized religion. That's all. But then about objectivity of science, Einstein thought that in spite of the claim of objectivity of science, science may not be another institution which suppress or which can be used to suppress humanity. There is a way out. That's what Einstein thought. And Tagore thought that Einstein was mistaken, because the objectivity of science cannot be taken as science without human being. Yes, science is human creation, and humanity will always be there. That part should be there. The moment you take out humanity, it will be a machine, and that machine would be used as an instrument of oppression. So that was the difference. But about future of humanity, both of them were very, very concerned.
Was there communication before World War I or after?
After. 31, this is the time. I mean, they met 2-3 times, notes were taken about their so-called dialogue. That's it.
Okay, I think it's 12:30, so let's thank Dr.